Hi, everyone. It's Drew Picklick, the fundraising officer for CASC, joining you. I'm going to throw it now to two members of UNIFOR who will be joining us. Please welcome Roxanne Dubois and Angela Drew Kimelman.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
We're very glad to be here to give you an overview of UNIFOR. You might have seen me before because I have shared this presentation with some of you before, but it's been a little while now. So Angela, I think you're going to share the screens and I will take it from there. Okay, so my name is Roxanne. I'm the executive assistant to our national president and UNIFOR, which is a new role for me. Since the last time I spoke with you, I had been for many years in our organizing department, so I'm really happy to give you a sense of who UNIFOR is and what we do. Next slide. Okay. So what I'll do today is I'll give you an overview of who UNIFOR is, what is our community chapter project, which is really what we want to kind of focus on today, some of our member services. I'm going to share an example, which is the Canadian Freelance Union, which is a very active and still very involved community chapter. And then we will talk a little bit about process. So why join UNIFOR? So just an overview, UNIFOR is a national union. We represent 315,000 members across Canada in a number of different sectors. So anything from energy to transportation, including aviation and rail, anything to auto manufacturing, telecommunications. So we represent a lot of workers in private sector workplaces and in some public sector workplaces. And we are the bargaining agent for all of these members. And so essentially when they become members of the union, usually it's a whole workplace that becomes a member, and we bargain everybody's collective agreement with them, of course. And we also fight for better labor laws, more equitable treatment of working people across Canada, and also for a world that works for working people, which oftentimes we don't feel like we live in. One of the things when UNIFOR was founded, it became very obvious that there are some labor laws through which workers can organize, but that those laws are actually increasingly not covering a number of workers. And so we're talking about precarious workers, for example, anybody who works contract or freelance. Many of the work arrangements that you folks are dealing with, it means that you cannot actually go through the traditional means of organizing a union through the traditional union card process. But UNIFOR 10 years ago, when we were formed, we recognized that workers should still have a voice, should still have a way to organize, to come together in a union and to fight together for their collective interests. And so we created community chapters, which is essentially a non-traditional union for workers who wouldn't normally be able to organize. So what is a community chapter? So it's a structure within the union in which members become members of the union, but they become members without a collective agreement. So, if we get into a little bit more of this conversation, I can go into the exact details of what that means, that there are some differences in terms of how we represent members in community chapters versus how we represent members with collective bargaining agreements. But essentially, you become a member of the union and you operate as an association, very similar to what you do now, but you're affiliated with the union. And so that means sometimes that you can use the UNIFOR logo if you're sending some communications to a client, for example, or maybe to a venue that hasn't been very nice to a member of yours. We have found that using the UNIFOR logo, even when we're just dealing with a freelancer contract, can go a long way. And of course, you folks already work within an association, so you understand how important it is to break isolation, to make sure there's a place for everybody, members, to share realities, to identify barriers, and to work together to try and alleviate them. And of course, basically, we're stronger together through collective action. I'm going to pass it to Angela for the member services part.
So community chapter member services, I'm sure there's been a lot of questions. what can UNIFOR provide to a community chapter member? Well, we provide political representation, support from strong local unions in all sectors. You'd have access to the union staff and departments, and that includes health and safety, research, legal, communications, human rights, etc. You would have space to organize and strategize for your community, and you'd have access to health and dental benefit plans, group, home, and auto insurance plans, and we could also help facilitate dues collection. Okay.
We can get into the details of all of that later if you have questions. And of course, even if we run out of time today, Angela and I are more than happy to answer questions afterwards, in email or in any other format. I want to share the example of the Canadian Freelance Union, which is an existing community chapter that there's a website, so you can check it out. I should know the website by heart, but I think it's just Canadian freelanceunion.ca.
Yep, you're right.
Great. And so the CFU has had about 200 members since the beginning of their time as a community chapter, and they are made up of freelancers in the media and communications sectors. So they have a lot of affinity with the members that CASC would represent. Only in that there's some creative talent in the membership of both associations. In this case, we're talking about photographers, videographers, writers and authors, some journalists, and anybody else who works in the kind of communications and media sectors and who works freelance. So they are a very, very active chapter. They have members in every province. They have executive members in every province. And I wanted to give an example of something that they have done in the past. Freelancers, probably much like stand-up comics and the membership that you represent, sometimes have difficulty getting paid by their employer or by the client that they're working for. And so the CFU has developed a service through which if a freelancer who's a member has not been paid or has just, has been given some excuses about why the check hasn't gone through or hasn't been sent or the transfer hasn't gone through or whatever excuse it is, the CFU has a service where they will work with a member to develop a letter that will come from the union with the union's letterhead to the client and say, our member is a member, they're entitled to their pay as per the contract that you signed with them. And if they don't get paid within the next 2 weeks, we will, there's not much teeth to what a community chapter or an association can do, but the fact that there is a logo and the fact that you can word a strongly worded letter actually does recover some money. And in some cases, we recovered up to $5,000 for a single member. And so that's a really good example of what we can do when we work together. I'll let you find out more about the CFU. You can go to the website, and they have done in the past a number of different kind of outreach activities. Sometimes they do webinars on filing your taxes. Other times they do co-sharing spaces or co-working spaces where everybody can kind of work and bring their laptops and basically just having fun while building a union. I'll pass it to Angela for process.
Okay, so the process of joining a community chapter, you're probably wondering, where do we begin? So basically you have to answer a simple question. Will you join an existing association similar to the CFU, or would you start your own new chapter? Okay, so we would work through those details and questions and develop the terms of the community chapter with UNIFOR. Meetings will take place between the CASC and UNIFOR leadership, and then there would be a vote of the membership or the members in the association and whether they want to join or not. If it's a winning vote, then we would have strategic planning for the future of your community chapter.
And the only thing we'll leave you with is just to consider that you are well ahead of the game here because you already have an existing association. So in terms of the process, the conversation that happens next is that if you're interested in going down the path of becoming a UNIFOR community chapter, then we start with your association as the basis of it. Then we have a conversation about where there might be some gaps between, you know, what our program is, what a community chapter is, and what your association is. We have a discussion about how we bridge those gaps, and then hopefully we get to a place where we can welcome you as UNIFOR members to our great union, and then, you know, the interesting part also begins is that we work together to campaign. I heard Sandra talk about going to Ottawa. Our national president was just in Ottawa today sharing UNIFOR's priorities for working people ahead of the new parliamentary session. So there's a lot that we can do together to advocate for your members. You have natural connections with a lot of our members in the media sector because they work in you know, they work in similar conditions, and there's lots of freelancers as well. And so I just want to open it that way. We're here for more information if you want more, and we're excited to see where this goes.
And I will just give you my information. So if anybody wants to reach out, has any questions, you can email me or give me a call. My email is angela.drew@unifor.org. Okay. And my cell phone is 416-524-1884. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you have going forward.
Okay. Thank you very much, Roxanne and Angela. So now I'm just going to run through a quick FAQ with everyone because, as we've stated a few times in the past, this will be brought up for a vote, and we've heard some membership concerns. So we just want to make a couple of things clear regarding what that would look like if CASC was to join with UNIFOR. So first of all, we want to make a clear point that our affiliation with UNIFOR would in no way mean that CASC is now a union or that we have become a one entity speaking for all comedians across Canada. We would remain an association that looks out for the interests of its members, and we would be more resourced, but there wouldn't be a collective bargaining agreement. There wouldn't be a single point of negotiation for all members on all behalfs. It would really more just be a way so that we can properly be resourced, apologies, to pursue the goals that we've stated, whether that be getting the P1 visa, whether that be trying to have comedy recognized as an art by the Canadian Council of the Arts. It's a way to have protections put in place for comics who may get ripped off from a venue or a promoter. It's just an added level of security and resources with UNIFOR having a membership over 300,000 across Canada. That adds some weight to it when we go into rooms in Ottawa and when we confront clubs and we confront promoters and anyone who might act in bad faith towards Canadian comedians. However, that being said, one of the conditions of joining UNIFOR would be involving an increase of our yearly membership fee. So that fee currently sits at $50 annually. UNIFOR suggests that its community chapters be well capitalized, so they would request that our fee goes up to $120 annually. So that'd be about $10 a month, not about, exactly $10 a month, and that would help to, again, cover any of the various goals and projects that CASC has in the year ahead. And 100% of those funds would come back to CASC. UNIFOR would not be taking any of that money for themselves. That money would remain with the association, and that money would be deployed towards the association's goals. But now we would have additional capital and backing from UNIFOR to pursue our projects. So if there's more questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We intend to have the vote in the coming months. And ideally, we can move forward in a stronger and better way as an association. So thank you very much.